Hey guys, how you doing? This is Brother Bill, and I am in the kitchen. It's 14 degrees outside, so I'm not going out there to finish this video. Been out there trying to get the waters changed for the rabbits and the chickens, and they've already froze twice today. So been doing that, and so I've come in and to get warmed up. I want to go ahead and finish this video. I do want to go over the goals that I've set for myself, and just to tell you where I came out, and like I said in the earlier in the video, I did not reach my goals. Now my goals were set, high for a 60-year-old, so I did set them pretty high for myself. But I'm pleased with what the turnout was. What I want to show you first is my journey actually began on November 1st. And I wanted to get to a certain weight before Josh started training me in that 30 days. So I had 13 days that I was working on myself, trying to get some weight off. And I'd lost, actually, I started out, I don't know if you could see that, I started out at 211 pounds and a half. 211 and a half. Unacceptable. Definitely unacceptable. But anyway, each day I did weigh myself, and you can see right there 211, 210, 206, and it would go up and down for the whole time I was doing this thing. So I found that very interesting. And I also listed what I ate right here in the middle. What meal I was eating, and then if I did exercise that day here on the right, and what exercises I was doing. There were several days I didn't do any exercises at all. I worked, and it's just hard to get any time to do any kind of exercise, any good exercises, I should say, at least to work up a sweat or something. So I did track this. I journaled this for 43 days. And like I said, I'm very pleased about it. It's good because it's like an accountability for yourself. The Bible even says that, examine your own self to see whether or not you're in the faith. So I was examining my own self to see if I was really serious about this thing or not, and it kept me on task, because there were days in here, especially at the beginning, especially the way I was eating, because I limited myself. I was 23 hours off of food every day, and I only allowed myself 1 hour in each day to eat something. And I had done that before for several days, but not 43 days. So I did that, and I'll just be honest with you, I was surprised by it, because you would think that you would be hungry. There were several days 5 o'clock would roll around, which was past the time I was supposed to eat. I was supposed to eat between 3 and 4, and I realized I didn't eat, and I just wasn't hungry. I just wasn't hungry, so I didn't want to eat. So I did find that interesting, and that was to my surprise. So anyway, I did journal everything here, and we did a preliminary on the 14th day of my journey, and we met with Josh, and I did, here's the numbers there. I started with 59 push-ups, and then 45 sit-ups, and then a 2 mile. At 17.15. So that was my initial testing there to see where I was at. But let me tell you what my goals were, and this is not my entire goals for this time of the journey, but this is part of it. And one of those goals was for me to go back to 1984 as a 17, 18-year-old kid and try to beat my score when I was in the military on the PT test. I thought that was kind of a unique kind of a goal. So for myself, and I wanted to push myself to do that. And that goal, what I was going after, was 71 push-ups in 2 minutes, 78 sit-ups in 2 minutes. These are timed, so you don't have a whole lot of time. It is enough if you're ready for it. But anyway, and then 2 miles in a 15-minute time period, which is not very fast at all. But I set myself a decent goal there, and I want to compare that to when I was in there in 84, which is 42 years ago. But my score back then was 243. I think I said that on the other video. But here's the results. I wanted 71 push-ups in 2 minutes, but I only got 67. So I was 4 short on those push-ups in the 2-minute time. As a matter of fact, when I got done, that the seconds were rolling down at the end. I was absolutely no strength, and I was shaking, and all that kind of stuff to get that last push-up in. But I did get 94 points on that, so that's good. Sit-ups, I wanted to do 78 in 2 minutes. I just can't do sit-ups very fast, but I did get 62 push-ups in 2 minutes, and then I had a 74-point total on that. 2 miles, I wanted 15 minutes, but I'll tell you folks, if you're going to eat something similar to keto or carnivore type stuff, if you do not hydrate enough, and I mean, it's almost like you got to double what your hydration should be. I made a mistake this past week because I was trying to get down to that weight that I wanted, and it hurt me on my run because it's like I was really dry breathing. My breathing wasn't as good as it would normally be. It wasn't my body that was giving me a problem, it was my breathing. So I learned, so I asked Josh about that, and he says probably because you're not hydrated enough. And I look back on that, especially the last 48 hours, because I went without food I was without food 52 hours doing this test this morning. I'm not telling you that to impress you by that. It's just something I'm testing my body. And I wanted to see, with me out without food during that amount of time, are you able to function, and at least function at some kind of a quality standard. So without food for 52 hours is what I did this test on. So anyway, 94 point. I got 89 points on the 2 miles with a 15:57 time. That's just barely under an 8-minute mile per mile. For me, that's terrible, especially whenever I was used to run all the time, and I've done 5 miles in 35 minutes before, 5 miles at 7 minutes a mile. But that's when I was running all the time and that kind of thing. So anyway, with 94 on push-ups, 74 on sit-ups, and then 89 points on 2 miles, I ended up with a total of 257 points. That would have absolutely qualified me to join the military in 1984. I would have been above average with that type score. So I'm very pleased with that because it was based on a 17 to 21 year old age range. Had I taken the test at 60 years old and what was required I would have blew that out of the water. So I am very pleased with that, to say that at 60 years old, I was at least fit enough to join the military. That's not very impressive by any means. It's not some great numbers, but for me, I'm okay with that. And I tell you what, it was harder because it wasn't just me doing the physical things, it was learning about diet and that kind of thing as well. My diet consisted of broccoli, raw spinach. I love raw spinach. I grow a bunch of it here at the house, and mixed greens. I grow both of those. So I was eating out of the garden from here. And then the only meat, sorry about the interruption. Somebody's calling in. Okay. So anyway, the meats that I was eating was either a steak, pork, or chicken, and then there was 2 days that I had venison. I had killed a deer, and I had cooked up some back straps, and that was awesome. Loved that. Okay, so we got that, so I'm glad about that. I did reach that one part of the goal, but I didn't reach the standard on the goal that I had wanted. Okay, so here we go. I did do that part. Now, there's some other parts of this thing. I wanted to gain some core strength. I check marked that because I do got that. Better mobility. I do have that because there is no joint pain in my body whatsoever, whereas when I worked out, I would always have joint pain. So Josh taught me how to train properly. So that helped a whole lot. Zero body pain today. With the exception of whenever you stress a muscle or something like that, you're going to be sore the next day or day after something, but it goes away. Clarity of mind, I'm as clear as anything. I've always been pretty good about remembering scripture, but I mean, I'm able to remember a lot more and recall things, and that's how I base that off of. I wanted to hit 180 pounds. Now keep in mind, I started at 211. So I weighed in on that day at 189 pounds. So I missed that mark of 180. But I'm not disappointed in that at all because of the way the weight come off. I've been pretty good about knocking some weight off really quick if I need to. But at the end of it, you're kind of weak and all. I feel pretty strong in body today and really good in body. So at 189. So I did miss that goal, but I did lose 21 pounds. 11 pounds before Josh, and 11 it's actually closer to the 22 because it's like 10 points, almost 11 pounds. So 11 pounds before Josh, and then almost 11 pounds after Josh trained me. So that was good. I was looking for some muscle definition. I'm not trying to bulk up to be some kind of bodybuilder by any means, but I did, when you get older, your arms will tend to sag here, or your skin, it's like right here on my neck. When you get older, your skin loosens up and you don't have that elasticity in your skin. So I wanted the muscle definition there to help with that. Not that I'm doing this to impress him. This is for me and no one else. I wanted to increase my leg strength because I do a lot of lifting around here, and I don't want to get to an age where I'm not able to bend down and lift back up with my legs and make the mistake and pull a muscle in my back or something like that. Waist reduction. It's funny, I always say this. Guys are hard-headed. Now, I have been in a size 34 waist for years, for a long time. Way back when my daughter was, now I may have been a 32 when my daughter was just a baby. But anyway, I've been in a 34 for a very long time. And it's funny because guys are hard-headed and we just don't want to answer the truth when it's set in front of us. But anyway, this is just a little ink pad. This is what I was going to show you about this. I use this ink pad. But anyway, your belt loop's supposed to be like this when it's around your waist, and it goes around, right there at your belly button. Now that's a 34, but us guys, we've got different levels of 34. See, cause let's see if you can see it like that. Yeah, look at that from the side like that. So that's a 34. That's supposed to be normal. It's straight up and down, but you still got your 34s on. But that belt buckle there tends to, more weight you put on it, kind of pushes it on down right there. And what happens is you're not a 34. It's like that belt is just holding up the fat that's above here. Well, mine didn't get quite that far, but it was about right there. See, so I really wasn't in 34. I was probably about a 36 with it pushing out like that. But today we got it back straight up and down. I'm very pleased with that. So I don't have to change belt sizes or pant sizes. I'm excited about that kind of thing. But anyway, there's my goals. And look what Josh did for me. A fitness planner. He journaled too what he did with me. Of my program there. So he's given me all this knowledge here and what we did. So he's gave that for me to help me. Okay, I've already kept you on this last part for 13 minutes and 40 seconds. Bear with me. 2008. I'm just going to run right through this thing. 2008. I had started a new job, the current job that I'm at now, so that's 17 years ago. I was a restaurant supervisor for years, and I had to go here and go there, and I was always running. I smoked cigarettes back then. I didn't take care of my body as much as I should have. As a matter of fact, I didn't even try. But anyway, I got to this new job, and I'd quit my cigarettes just real recent before then. And I remember I had been in prayer early part of December that year, 2008, because there was some bitterness that rose up in me due to some things that happened at the church I was going to with the leadership, because they were arguing and they wasn't getting along, and it affected my youth group, the boys there in our little Sunday school class, And I was really aggravated during that time because they disrupted the whole class and changed everything around because this one wanted that one wanted this. And anyway, it messed us up. And then parents started leaving, kids started leaving, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I was bitter about that, and I'd been in prayer asking the Lord to help me with this bitterness because we know what bitterness does. And I didn't want to be bitter in my heart because I knew it wasn't a testimony for Him. And so I was praying that, and prayed that for several days. Well, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I'm not saying God caused it. I'm just telling you what happened and how He used it. December 17th, so that was 2 weeks later, I'm at work checking off a forklift, which is one of the pieces of mobile equipment that we use. And my partner there, as I got out of the forklift and turned everything off, he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "You're white as a ghost." Well, I said I was okay, but I wasn't okay because the last couple of days I'd been experiencing some things. My arm, I'd go to sleep, working nights, and you try to sleep during the day, but I wake up and my arm was just killing me with pain. I didn't tell nobody about that, but anyway, that night on December 17th, I called my dad. I said, "What does a heart attack feel like?" Because he's had a few. And he told me, I said, "Well, I may need some help to get me to the emergency room, go check out." Well, he just lived down the road. He said, "Well, can you drive yourself over to Hardee's," which was just up the street, maybe a quarter mile. And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to call my boss." Called my boss, told him what's going on. He said, "Well, you can't leave." I said, "Well, I'm leaving anyway." I said, "I got to check myself out." And so I left. Now, whether I should have done that or not, don't know. But anyway, I did leave, and I met my dad at Hardee's, and he drove me over to the hospital there at UT emergency room. I walk in, and I don't know why, but those nurses, I told them what's going on with me, and they looked like they were in a panic, rushing around here, rushing around there. They hauled me back there really quick, threw me up on a stretcher, took some things on my, my blood pressure, whatever they do there, and they said, "Mr. White, you're having a heart attack." Anyway, they gave me something, and it stopped it. And so anyway, they did some other tests, and they let me know that I had a 93% blockage in that major artery in the heart. And I said, "Okay." And it's funny too because the nurse, she said, "Mr. White, are you a preacher?" I said, "No, ma'am, I'm not a preacher." I said, "I do love the Lord and I do like to testify about it, but no, I'm not a preacher." And you see, because preachers themselves go through a whole lot, and that stress is on them. It seems like preachers, whenever they do go to be with the Lord, it seems to be that thing with heart. But anyway, she did ask that, and they said, "Well, we're going to have to put a stent in that artery to get your blood flowing." So anyway, they took me up to a room, and that next morning, I think they said it's about 5 o'clock. They did the surgery. They put that stent in my heart, and I'm in a room and didn't know where I was at. Of course, I'm out, and it's kind of like Phil Robertson says, it's the closest thing we'll ever understand what resurrection's about. You go to sleep and you don't know anything that happened, and you wake back up. I thought that was a pretty good explanation of that, and that's kind of what I was going through. So I woke up about noon, 12 or 1 o'clock sometime on Thursday, and I'm just looking around the room. There's nobody in the room, and I just happened to look up over the door, and I'm in room 825. Immediately, now this don't mean anything to you, I'm sure, but it means a whole lot to me because I study the numbers, and I study the Hebrew text and the Greek text, and I study what the Jewish folks would have considered, because every letter meant something. They numbered the letters because it meant something. And I understood some things, and so that 825, it just clear as anything in my own mind. 8 is the new beginning, and that's what it means, a beginning. And then number 2 is a number of witness, and then the number of 5 is grace. So the Lord's just kind of ministering to me that I'm giving you a new beginning to witness grace. Well, that was 17 years ago, and that's what I've been doing. I knew the Lord. I was saved, man, back in 96. But he knew about the bitterness. He knew about that kind of, boy, a heart issue will clear that bitterness up pretty quick because there was no bitterness in me. I was thankful that he did give me another day. But anyway, that's what happened. So I started my own journey. Now before I had, this was December, and of course I had a heart doctor, an awesome man. So he helped me through some things. But I was very uncomfortable with all the medications that they'd give me. There was all kinds, there's 7, 8, 9, I can't remember all of them. Blood thinners, cholesterol medicine, because they diagnosed me with high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Actually, they called me obese. I think I actually weighed 220 something pounds, almost 230. I'd never weighed over 200 pounds before in my life. And the thing is I put all that weight on this new job. I did, because it's like hitting a wall. Whereas before I was go, 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 grab something and go. Here I was like hurry up and wait kind of a thing. Kind of like the military was whenever you got out of basic. You got some real quick and then you sat there forever. So that's how the job was for me. We'd have to get things done and then you sit there because there wouldn't be, and it was for 12 hours. So anyway, I put a whole lot of weight on there this time. So I was on a bunch of medication, but in January, the Lord had me doing some strange things that I'd never done before, and that kind of thing. And I was just conversing with Him, and I didn't like the way this medication made my brain feel. I couldn't think straight. It felt like I was in a fog, and if you just poked yourself, you're bruised. You didn't have a whole lot of energy, just everything. I was uncomfortable feeling that way in body. So, with that said, now I'm not suggesting you do this. Again, this is just between me and the Lord. What I did do is I took that medication because the heart doctor told me that if you stop taking these medications, you need to be ready to have another heart attack. I don't know why he said that. I don't know, but he did, and to provoke fear, I don't know. But it caused me to be afraid. And I looked at these medications there on my dresser by my bed, and I said, and this is what I said. I don't remember exactly, but I'll paraphrase it. I said, Lord, I don't want to take these medicines. I believe you used that doctor to help me, but I believe it was you that healed my heart. That's what I believe, and I don't want to take these medications anymore. I want to throw them in a trash can, but there's a little bit of fear because the doctor said that if I do, then I'll just have another heart attack, and that'd kind of be foolish of me to not follow that guideline that he set before me. But at the same time, my faith is not in the doctor. My faith is in you, and I just think it would be a good testimony. Whether you think it is or not, I don't know, but I think it would, that I won't be on no more medications again. And so with that said, I did throw those medications in the trash can. And for the first couple of minutes there, I was nervous about it because I'd already committed. I wasn't going to get them back out. It was what it is. And I just said, Lord, I'm going to bed to sleep, believing you've healed me. Now, if I don't wake up, I'm not going to hold that against you because you always do what is right. But that's what I'm going to believe, that you have healed me and I don't need those medications. And if you do wake me, I'll be thankful that you have, and I'll honor you in my body the best that I can. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and I was thankful. And I have been thankful ever since. I'm not thankful every day. I guess it's just part of us being human. We don't think about the Lord all the time, or at least in a way of thanksgiving, but I am thankful. And it was a few years later, I started going to a gym where my nephew worked, and this is the gym that I am at today. And I started running, and I tell you what, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I had shin splints, and my calves was hurting, my legs was hurting, but I'd go every day. I'd run a half a mile and take a break or whatever until eventually I could run without any pain in my legs. And then my nephew helped me start exercising. So I lost all that weight that I wanted to lose, and that started my journey. Since then, I'm not going to say I've fallen off of it, because I tell you, my schedule, the way it is, working swing shifts, it's very difficult. I said that in the video. Get some kind of balanced routine where you're eating proper, that kind of thing. So, with that said, I do believe the Lord healed me. And I believe He honored my prayer in the fact that I said I did want to honor Him in my body to be a witness for Him. I don't have heart disease today. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have high the triglycerides, My blood work always comes back good. I don't have any health issues as far as I know. Now, I take a yearly physical because of work, and they've not told me anything that there's anything that I really need to work on. And they always ask me, do you take any medication? I said, no, sir. It's always the same doctor. No, sir, I don't. Of course, they keep trying to push it on you just because they got to make the sale, I guess. But I said, no. I said, do I need any? He said, well, no right now. Just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. If so-and-so happens, and we've got this, this, and this. And I said, okay. I said, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. And because I place my trust in the Lord. And I'm not saying that in a boastful way, because anything can happen. My life is in His hands, and it's not up to me. But I do want to do my part to honor Him in that these bodies of ours are the temple of the Lord. It's the temple of the Holy Spirit. And I do want to make sure that I do my part and honor Him in that, because I am grateful. Because I look at this as 17 bonus years. Because He could have just let me go, but He didn't. But I've got to see my daughter, who is drug addicted, set free from that and saved. I got to, I'm sorry. I got to see my granddaughter born, who you know, those that watch the channel, Gracie. Got to see her grow these last 11 years. She'll be 12 in January. But I have seen in these 17 years the grace of God in my life and in others. And I've seen Him work works that I just would have never known, and been able to be out there, and He's used me in ways that I never would have thought of. And He continues to do so, even though as unworthy as I am. He does that. You see, because all this is not about me trying to get fit for myself. It's about honoring Him and being a good steward with what He's given. He's given me extra time and got to see things, and even miraculous things at times. And I'm just thankful that He's allowed me to see those things, because I said it in a video earlier, and I'm going to rephrase the statement. I said, I think that God's people ought to be the healthiest people on the planet. I still believe that, but I'm going to rephrase it this way, because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Because I know there's sickness out there. I know people struggle with weight. I was there, and it's still a battle every day. And I know people struggle with different things. I know that. But I'm going to phrase it this way. I believe, and again, it's my opinion, I believe God's people ought to be the most aware people about their health condition than any other people in the world. Because we are the temple of God. We are the temple of God that houses the Holy Spirit. And I just look back on those disciples. We can't see them, but we can imagine it because we've got enough history and that kind of stuff. We are so consumed with the idea of eating, it becomes idolatrous. We run to the fast food restaurant, getting something to eat that's not any good for us. Now keep in mind, I worked restaurants for 20 years. I was trying to build sales at more than married. But we do that in the morning, and then before lunchtime, we're eating a snack out of a vending machine and drinking a Coke. And then we eat lunch, and then we snack between lunch and supper, or maybe we go back to the drive-thru and get something else, and then we head home because nobody seems to cook anymore. But our days are consumed with eating, snacks and snacks between snacks, drinking the things that cause us heart disease and diabetes and all those kind of things that affect our organs, and we're sluggish and we don't have any energy, and we're not lively stones as we're called to be. A person can be filled with Holy Spirit to the brim, but if their body doesn't allow them to do anything, they're stuck. Now, it's just, I'm not getting on anybody. This is my own. I'm talking to myself. This is me and what I was feeling and those kind of things. And I thought, Lord, and if ever I speak, I don't want to be the one that's speaking that's out of breath and just can't catch their breath because they can't get from here to there without they're panting and they can't breathe. That's not a good testimony. That's not a good testimony at all. And I'm not judging that. I'm just saying if I'm sitting there watching that and I'm like, brother, what's going on? You can't even breathe right. Well, then you look and then you figure out why. And again, that's not a judgment. What we put in our bodies and how much what we put in our bodies is an issue. And that was my issue. And I didn't want to be that person to do that. Again, I'm not passing judgment. It's just what it is. So I do believe these bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And me personally, I don't want to be a burden on my daughter and my granddaughter to have to come in here and take care of me all the time and do this. Now that stuff happens. I mean, we're going to eventually get old, but I really don't want to be a burden to them. You know, when my time comes, you know, I just pray to the Lord, just boom, let me out of here. Just go on. And then they don't have that burden because I don't want them to hold that burden, have to care for me. And they would. And I know they would. I just don't want that. And I want to be able to, if I'm going from point A to point B, by the time I get to point B, I don't want to be sluggish and tired and no energy. I want to be vibrant and full of life, and because we're called to be that. We're called to be those lively stones here in the dark world, dark and dying world, by the way. But I'm not going to take up no more time. We're looking at 30 minutes here, and I do hope that you stayed with me. As a matter of fact, it's so long, I am going to put this on a separate video, and what I'll do is I'll put a little short video on the other one and just let you know that I'm going to do this devotion or testimony, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I'm not going to take up no more of your time. I hope you did stay to the end, and if you think it's going to help anybody, I sure would like you to hit that like button. I'm not looking for numbers. I'm looking to help somebody. But if you'll hit that like button, because you know how it works. If the likes and the comment, then YouTube will take it and keep it up there. But if you'll hit the like button and leave me a comment, agreeing or disagreeing, it doesn't matter. Just leave a comment, and if you can, share it out there. Because I do, ultimately, I want to help the folks that need the help. Maybe have gone through what I've gone through. Maybe I can help them there. But y'all take care, and I'll see you on the next video. All right.